Hello, hello, hello. We're live. We're going to pick up some steam. Big thanks to my co-host, Adam, who manned this ship solo last week, but I am back and we are ready to give you this week's DFS picks for the Wells Fargo Championship. Let's go. Yeah, so snazzy. I don't think I will ever stop being excited about having a theme song.
It is a pretty cool theme song. It's pretty catchy.
It
nice
is.
little guitar riff.
It gets you moving. It gets me moving, at least. I mean, it's kind of hard to say what's new. Like, what's new?
Yeah, no, not much. Yeah.
Not much. There's not
What's
much
new with you?
What's new with me? I had my breasts removed. Oh my gosh.
Well,
I don't even know how to
breasts removed.
I don't even know how to discuss that. It's just such a weird thing to happen. If you are new to our show, I was diagnosed with breast cancer this year, and I just underwent my surgery for treatment. And I am in the recovery phases right now, which last week I was probably high, so it wouldn't have been a good combination.
It would have been a great combination.
It might have been a great combination. You're probably right. It probably would have been a great combination. Thanks so much, Wendy. I am so glad to be back here on Who's Your Caddy with my favorite co-host, Adam. Woo! Produced by Club Fantasy, supported out of Women of Fantasy Football. And we're not talking football, we're talking golf. This week's tournament happens to be the Wells Fargo Championship, and it is played at Quail Hollow, which is quite a notable club out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Why is it notable? Because it's been host to the PGA Championship, if I'm not mistaken. It was also last year's host to the President's Cup. And this is notable because the Wells Fargo was not played at Quail Hollow last year because they were preparing for the President's Cup. So any stats specific to winning at Quail Hollow as it relates to the Wells Fargo field and time of year, something to take into account this week, I would think. But Adam,
what?
I think you probably have something to say about. The only thing you have to promise me that you will delve in a little bit to the infamous Green Mile of 16, 17, and 18 at Quail Hollow, because water's in play. We've got some crazy distances on par fours.
Yeah, we got some crazy distance on some par fours. The Green Mile, which, yes, is 16, 17, and 18. 17 is a great par 3, which is sandwiched by a couple par 4s, and water is in play. It's not like a lot of water. It's just a strategically placed little line of water up through the course. It's a small creek, and things kind of tend to trail down into that creek. So it's in play more than you think. And Quail Hollow itself is a par 71 course with a daunting 7,500 yards total, which is about 240 yards longer than the average par 71. Fairway width, we got some average fairways, nothing to talk home about, but we do have some pretty large greens. It is a lot of the average green size is a lot larger than the average PGA size. So it gives you a little hint on what we're not going to be taking in play for some of our stats. Recent winning scores, if this tells you again on the type of tournament it is -10, -15. We've had a -12, we had a -9, and then we've had a -21, but I wouldn't count that guy. Recent cut lines +1, +3, +2, even. And I think we'll probably hit that again this year. I think we'll be between +1 and +2 for cut line this week. So, when we talk into a little bit of the Green Mile, obviously we're looking at those infamous par fours are stretched along, sandwiched. A 190-yard par three with some strategically placed bunkers. Water does come and play not only on the Green Mile, but on 6 holes as well. Over 50% of the approach shots will be coming from over 175 yards out. So again, it is a long course, and we have trees on both sides of the fairways. It is tight, it is long, hence my little banner thing. I don't know what to call it. So some of the players that we'll be looking for are kind of course history. We'll be looking at some bombers, but we really need accurate bombers and strong iron players here.
That's kind of my struggle this week is while there are plenty of players in this field long off the tee, there are not a lot of accurate players off the tee this week in combination.
Mm-hmm.
That's been probably the biggest struggle for me. When I'm looking at this course, when I'm looking at everything that's required of them this week, I feel like we really need a very well-rounded player. But as you mentioned, they need to be long off the tee. But that also requires them to be accurate, to have a good approach, to be good around the green, to be a good putter. When I'm looking, I always talk about the little hexagon.
Mm-hmm.
Hexagon of skills. Yes, this. Can you see the shape, everyone? Distance is always at the top of my thing in this tool that I've been using, and I want them to have a little more distance and a little more accuracy, and then everything else be very well-rounded. That's kind of been my goal this week. Approach, distance, accuracy being on point, around the green being on point, putting being on point. I don't know if that's the right move, but that's where I landed.
I weighed heavier on driving accuracy as well, only because I think the average drive here is between 277 and 282. So even if you're going to hit it long, really, I think the long part of the course comes into play on the irons. So you're going to have to shape your shots a bit and think about your second shot more than your tee shot. And so really, I'm waiting those people that approach the 150, 175 mark on those proximity stats on the model. I'm also looking at birdie or better percentage. I'm looking at par 5 scoring because the par 5s are on this course. Very rarely are people going to bogey them. It's really the par 4s and par 3s.
Yeah.
And so really that's going to be your scoring opportunity is try to get either possibly an eagle, but more likely a birdie.
I agree. I was going to say, let's jump in and share our favorites tier by tier by tier this week. But silly me did not fill in my picks, so I got to scroll up and look at my pool. But if you're new here, we use DraftKings as our baseline. Occasionally, I make call outs on FanDuel for certain players that I like better for props. But DraftKings player salaries higher than 10,000. I'm going to, gosh, there are quite a few that I like in this price range, higher than 10,000, but obviously you can't play them all. I'm going to go with Xander Schauffele, lovingly called Shuffles by me, only me. Nobody else calls him that. I don't think. Xander Schauffele at 10-7. I like it. And Patrick Cantlay at 10-5. I really like those two based on course fit, based on tournament projections, based on current trajectory. Those are a lot of hard words. But yeah, I'm just going to throw those two out there. Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele.
Awesome.
That's it. That's all I got for you.
Well, those are my picks as well.
Stop it.
That's who I typed into our little.
Oh no, that's why we're supposed to type them in. Well, why don't you tell us why? Tell everybody why we love Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay.
Several reasons, and along the same lines that you've picked out. I think Roy might be highly owned, and just to be a little bit different from the field. And I think Patrick Cantlay kind of plays more of the conservative golf. And Roy, I hate to say this, Roy is playing great golf, but it's not like the best golf. And so, he is, I think, 116th in driving accuracy in the field. And so, like, he's almost last. So he has to figure his off the tee marksmanship and figure that thing out. I like Cantlay and I like Schauffele, especially in the price range. I don't think Finau is going to go back to back. This is just not something that very rarely do people go back to back unless they're John Rahm. I don't think he's in that field.
I just had that discussion today with somebody actually, where it was, Finau is not a back-to-back player. Not many players are back-to-back players, and I said John Rahm is, but Finau's no John Rahm.
Yep. So that's why I like him.
That's why I like them. I like them for other reasons. I mean, I listed the reasons. I didn't give you much behind it, but Xander Schauffele is 78% likely to make the cut, which is great. That's always our goal, first and foremost, to make the cut. If you're a fan of props, I like him in a top 20 as well. We're looking at 45% for the top 20. So when we talk about wins, having any player with over a 1% chance of winning is actually good for me, at least. I know that's not DFS, but it's also helps me to shape my DFS when I'm looking at who out there is likely to win. And then another little secret that it's not a secret, it's just something that I apply when I'm looking then in my DraftKings or FanDuel and I'm seeing how much this player costs. I'm also looking at what are their fantasy points per game. And there are several players that I like this week that I didn't pick, and a few that I did against my better judgment because they don't give you enough points. So while they might be great for props, they may not be great for DFS unless you're really struggling to put together a team that's going to at least make the cut. Cam Davis, for instance, I actually really liked this week, but I'm going to use him in fantasy. I'm going to use him in props, but I'm not going to use him in my daily fantasy lineup.
Yeah, I agree. I like Victor Hovland. He ranks out actually pretty well in my model. But the one thing I don't like about him, and I've used him in past tournaments, I love him in past tournaments, He just seems he doesn't have the staying power throughout the week. So like around first or second round, he seems to get up there, and then it just kind of dies out Saturday and Sunday. Also, he's not good from 175 plus. Not one of the best iron players from there. Everything else he kind of shakes out okay on. But that's why I'm going with Shuffles and
Shuffle.
Stanley.
Now I have to look and scroll down and see where you are in the next one. Okay, I don't have that one, but I do have that one. You have like everybody. Did you just pick everybody for the middle tier?
I have 4 people. You have 30. No.
I did. I had 35 in my initial pool, whittled down to 15, whittled down to 7. There you go. Behind the scenes action. All right, middle tier, we're looking at 8,000 to 9,000 plus in salary. And my first pick, against my better judgment, but I like how it looks on paper, Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas, 9.2, former champion at Quail Hollow, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say 2017, but I might have to Google that. You know, I like JT. It's a little steep, but he's been getting a lot of points for daily fantasy. So I like Justin Thomas at 9.2 with a whopping 90 fantasy points per game so far this season, average.
It's a good pick. I can see why you picked him. I think like I said, probably in a couple podcasts ago, it's like 2020 is making a run for like 2000, because like Justin Thomas, Spieth, Fowler are all making, I shouldn't say comebacks, they're just making this renaissance move. So I like it. I think it's good.
My second one, if you want me to throw that out there, is going to be, this one was tough because I did like quite a few in this. I'll stay away from the one that you have listed. We do agree on one. I'm going to go with Thigala. Love his trajectory. He's been doing pretty great, and at 8.2, I like that a lot. He also shakes out for course fit for me. And when we look at making the cut, 66% chance of making the cut. That's about all I can ask for. I do not like him for any props.
I think it's a good pick. On mine, I did. So I stacked kind of the middle pricing tier, and then only put one for the cheap tier. I shouldn't say cheap. I should say cost effective. But for kind of my guys in this 8 to 9 range, I have Cam Young. And I like Cam Young because he kind of almost has that well-balanced golfer out, except for accuracy. And so I'm hoping that his tee to green and his driving distance and his birdie or better percentage helps out his driving accuracy. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Next up, I have Brian Harman. I have Brian Harman. Again, he's got a pretty good course history here. And he shakes out pretty well as far as distance and accuracy. And his last 10 events or so, he's done okay. He almost does one of those things where it's like, hey, I played well last week and I'm going to play shitty this weekend. But overall, when you look at the stats model, he shakes out pretty well on driving accuracy, good drive percentage. And then he's got an okay par 5 scoring along birdie or better percentage, as well as bogey avoidance. So I think he'll do okay here. Just okay.
Just okay. You're so silly.
I have another one underneath that.
Go for it.
Which one? Ricky Fowler.
Science.
It is science and Puma. Dressing all in one. Ricky Fowler, you can't beat the science behind it. He's on a resurgence. He is 12th in greens and regulation in this field. Driving accuracy, he has to titch off. Driving distance, he's 25th in the field. Accuracy is more than way off. It is like 80th in the field. But I'm hoping that his off the tee, which is around 52nd, and his tee to green is 17th in the field. So tee to green again is that balanced stat that we look at sometimes, a lot of times. And so I really think Fowler in this 8 to 8 range is a pretty good price.
I think so too. Do you want to give your 100 millionth middle tier pick?
It's not 100 millionth. It's 5 millionth. Jason Day.
Jason Day.
He is accurate. He's a sniper, and he's playing pretty well.
He's playing really well.
And for this price range, to be honest, I think Jason Day should be at the Justin Thomas price range, and Justin Thomas should be in this 8 to 9 range, a little bit lower than he is now. I guess Justin Thomas is 89, and where's Jason Day at? He's at 9,000. So I guess Jason Day is up above, just a titch above Justin Thomas.
You had Justin Thomas. I had Justin Thomas at 9.2. Did I read it wrong?
I'm looking at the model tab on the Rise or Fall and projections, and it has Justin Thomas at 8,900 and Jason Day at 9,000.
Well, we just found ourselves a bargain, but I pulled this off DraftKings, so
yeah,
I might want to check that again.
Yeah. And Jason Day, I think, has pretty good history here.
He does. He didn't win this particular tournament here, but he's won here, from what I understand.
So yeah, I've gone through all the picks, and now we're out of time.
Now we're out of time. Thanks for tuning in. Just kidding.
Yep.
Just kidding. Just kidding. We have another tier for you. These are. I'm just typing them in here because I know Wendy likes that. Adam's middle tier picks. All right.
I'm sorry, Wendy. I didn't do that last week.
That's okay. We forgive you. So, hey, Royal, Mr. Kind Eyes Jr., I have not seen this news. 15-year-old son of Matt Kuchar may qualify for the U.S. Open. That's pretty amazing. If you're tuning in for the first time, I have a thing for Matt Kuchar. It's no secret. Mr. Kind Eyes. I am not choosing him this week, however. This course is too long for him. It's not meant for old man golf.
Old man golf.
So, sorry, Maddie K. You are not on my list this week. Let's move on to the bottom tier, 6,000 to 7K plus. You have one on there. You know what? I'm just going to back up just a touch. Jason Day and who is your other one? Fowler.
Yeah.
Fowler and Jason Day were also part of my 15-person tier. I like those picks. I do. Just in case you wanted some validation in life.
I do like validation.
6K to 7K plus. Pulling one out of left field, maybe. But I haven't played much of Taylor Moore at 7.6K.
I love Taylor Moore.
I haven't played much of him. Did you pick him? No, you didn't.
No.
Oh, you only picked one.
I know, because I picked somebody in the middle tier.
Oh, look at you. Taylor Moore. I really like his course fit here. So part of that process is looking, for me at least, looking at course fit, looking at past event history, looking at current standings, looking at rankings and predictions. I really liked how he ended up shaking out here. Taylor Moore could not seem to quit him. So yeah, I like Taylor Moore at 7.6, 62.5% chance to make the cut. I like those odds. I actually really do like those odds.
Really?
Better
Better than 50-50 chance.
Better than a 50-50 chance. And then here I get hung up because I kind of do like quite a few different ones in here, but I'm going to probably go with another one a little less played, Alex Smalley at 6.8. Alex Smalley was another one who just kept bubbling up for me. And I'm like, okay, trusting the process, listening to all of the signs and signals. So in my bottom tier, I'm putting two players that I don't normally pair up or put together in my lineups. Alex Smalley, 6.8. Taylor Moore, 7.6. Where are you?
I picked Alex Smalley last week, and he kind of fell apart.
So this week he will not.
No, he won't. So this week I have one pick because I picked somebody in the middle one. I picked Killer Keith Mitchell. Killer Keith shakes out well from an accuracy standpoint. When you look at things overall, he's 11th in my model. Great value, great course history, and let's hope that he bucks the trend that he's been on because he hasn't been playing great golf. In his last four events, he's made the cut, most of them, but then kind of just coasted along. So it's not a great picture if you look at that, but if you look at the stats model and just look at it just on paper, off the tee, he's fourth in the field. Tee to green, he's 22nd in the field. Driving distance, he's 10th. Driving accuracy, he's 20th. The planets are aligning. Maybe he'll do well. Maybe he's horse for the course and is going to do well. Par 5 or better, birdie or better percentage, 14th in the field. The 20th in the field for overall birdie or better percentage. I think he's fine. The only thing that might get him is his scrambling. He can't scrabble for shit, but seems to be one of those golfers. If he messes up, he kind of gets into his own head. So
that is true. I was looking ahead at the WTF pick, favorite segment of the evening. WTF, a pick that may seem random but has some data behind it, coined by Adam. I hate your WTF pick this week.
why? Because you wanted him?
No, I really just don't like it.
Well, I hope he does great.
I want you to explain this right now.
Because he wears a bucket hat. My WT pick, if you haven't figured out by that little nickname, is Joel Dahmen. Dahmen. He hasn't been playing great golf. I give you that. But his course history here is stellar. And so I'm picking him just purely based on, he actually ranks 24th in my model. That's
great.
25th tee to green. And that's like, that's great as when
I really didn't mean it to come out that way.
Like when a first grader comes home with a stick figure family, he's like, "Hey, I drew the whole family, and they all look ugly." And you're like, "Oh, this is great. We're just gonna put it over here in the trash for later."
I really meant it, but it came out so poorly.
Driving accuracy, he's ninth in the field. Driving distance, not that long, but I'm hoping his course history here is actually super stellar. And let me tell you his course history, because I know you don't like this pick. His course history here, he averages a 12th place, so it's 18th. Second, then he came in 16th. I don't know what it is. He just might like this course. He might be close to home. He just might like the area, I have no clue. But he hasn't been playing great golf lately, but he just likes his course. So that's where it is.
You know what? You may have won me over with that speech. I actually
Did we
have
stop when the
Joel
Germans
Damon.
bombed Pearl Harbor? No.
Joel Damon is on my fantasy league, and I may just play him this week for that sole reason. But for DFS, my WTF pick this week is going to be Caddy. Caddy is not typically a WTF pick, I guess I wouldn't say, but out of all the picks that we've given you today, Caddy is probably the most boring, well-rounded person in this field when I'm looking at the data, the course fit. He is a true pentagon shape. A true pentagon shape. Does not have distance, but he is not short on distance either. He's perfectly average. He's perfectly average, pretty much all around.
The Honda
Slightly
Accord of golf.
What was that?
The Honda Accord of golf.
Yes. Let's see. Caddy is looking like the Honda Accord of golf this week. And I just chose him because he's inexpensive at 7.2. He's very well-rounded, and he averages 69 fantasy points per game, which is far more than anybody else in that price point. So for those reasons, Caddy is my WTF pick this week. There you have it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all we've got. It was fun. I almost shared my disgusting bags of bodily fluids with everybody just now. That would have been disgusting.
But it happens. It's what happens. It is life.
Happens. Live. Thank you, everybody, so much for your love and messages of support as I get through this. This is probably the latest I've stayed up in a while. It's only 7 p.m. here, but at 7 p.m., I'm like, good night. Do you have anything else you want to add, Adam?
No, show's over. Go home.
Show's over. Bye, everyone. You're welcome, Wendy. Let's listen to some cool music again.